robust urban garlic flavor.
Hello everybody, before I start today's video, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving with friends and family, and that your day is positive and meaningful. So Phil, this is right before his Asmongold rant, complains about YouTube because YouTube is a dynamic, evolving website, and Phil wants it to be static like it was in 2008. So here's Phil to tell you more.
I was listening to feedback and someone wrote me this really nice message and was like, listen, I actually think it would benefit your channel to literally have silence. No music, still play the slideshow. The slideshow is fine. It's representative of your channel, shows art, advertising and everything. That's good. But get rid of the music. So as of today, no music.
Yeah, DSP is taking steps to improve his channel by getting rid of that terrible fan music where he just yells and curses and whatever. It's corny, it's over the top. He never really replaced it with anything else. It's a stupid fan art after that, but he's keeping it. So what I recommend to him is have his pre-rolls be 5 minutes. Don't make it 10 plus.
Now you might say, well, am I going to add more music? What music? See, people don't seem to understand how the music actually works. Royalty-free music is just that. It's music you can use on YouTube without having to pay a royalty for it. However, that music is still owned by someone else, and they still monetize it. So even though I could get royalty-free music to play on here, the stream would get claimed. The entire stream. Not just a portion of the stream where I played the music, but they'd say, oh, the entire stream is now the property of the person whose song you used. So I can't use royalty-free music.
Yes, because after the fact, you would have to clip it out even though you private it. You're just afraid once you use the music, it will get claimed automatically while you're live, so you won't be able to get super chats. What you can use is Creative Commons. There are plenty of websites out there. Kevin MacLeod is the big one where he has all this music. You can use it as long as you put a link that you just copy and paste from his website onto the YouTube description, okay? Not that hard to do. Also, YouTube has something called YouTube Creator Library or Audio Library. They kind of just put it in with the music stuff because they want people to pay for music now, but you can use the things where you click, okay, I want the license to be $0 and then the duration of the license to be forever, and that will pull up the YouTube audio library stuff, which you can use on your live streams. Raw Phil uses a ton of it, but Phil is too stupid to do research, and since none of his fans or content creators, besides the ones that just upload gameplay like he does, nobody knows about that.
So it's going to be silence. We're not going to have music anymore on the beginning. The only time that there will be more silence after that will be, for example, when we're playing Pokemon and I go on a break, I can't play my clips as like a break because I'm not hooked up to the PC at that point. Okay? So I would play the slideshow like this and it would be silent, just like this.
He's forgetting that Pokemon has ambient background music and he could just leave the game playing.
So this will be the break for like Pokemon or when I'm playing something on the Switch. When I'm on the PC, then I can always just go over to my highlights screen and play you guys highlights from my history. And that's entertaining. I know people, the highlights are something to watch. It gives you something to do when, I'm using the bathroom or going on a break or whatever, okay?
Yeah, so think of the funniest video you ever seen or the funniest short or the funniest TikTok or whatever, and imagine you saw it every single day 2 times for like 100 days. You think it would be as funny? Now, think about some of the most garbage content ever and seeing it repeatedly every single day for a whole year with no updates or changes to it whatsoever. That's what Phil calls entertainment.
So that will continue, but I basically feel like, this is a positive change since people are bored with the music.
Yeah, because you repeatedly do the same thing day in and day out, it's going to get repetitive and dull. You just don't want to admit that with all the other stuff though, because then you'll be like, oh, I have to innovate. I can't do that. I don't want to do that.
And or tired of it. It's not representative of who I am.
Yeah, that music is Thug Life Phil, where he thought he was hot stuff and a real cool cat and a bad apple, where all it just comes off to us is corny and lame.
And I'm also going to be honest with you guys now too. This is something that I've actually touched upon recently, but it hasn't really been talked about too much. Some stuff it has been getting flagged as adults only on YouTube.
Phil, you've been talking about this periodically in the past month. I know at least 2 of your streams have been claimed as adults only, and you've lost the ability to do super chats, so you had to reset the stream and do a new one. Also, there are YouTube changes that happened about last week where you can't have realistic gore or things like that, or graphic violence, and have it still be fully monetizable.
YouTube actually changed their criteria for adults only stuff about a week ago, and what's happening now is excessive swearing is getting actually flagged on YouTube.
Phil, that happened with Boogie a couple years ago. There may be still archive footage on his channel complaining about it. I don't know because he scrubbed some of the stuff, but he made a video about it saying, "Help guys, I can't make any money because my 40-second video got a yellow $sign and less people are able to see it now because YouTube's not pushing it out."
And you get demonetized. So I'm not gonna lie, there's been a couple days I played the music and one of the songs had the F word 4 times within like 60 seconds, and they were like, "Oh, demonetize your whole stream." What?
Yeah, Phil, YouTube's very clear in their guidelines. There are certain things they don't want green $signs attached because their advertisers tell them. Do you know that TV studios have literal jobs where people just say, "Oh, you can't put this in the show"? It's called censors, Phil. You can say whatever you want, but it doesn't mean there's going to be a $sign attached to it.
Why? The whole point of YouTube's monetization system is that you're supposed to be an adult to be able to run ads on your videos, and you're supposed to be an adult to be able to contribute to a content creator or a streamer.
Unless you steal your mommy's credit card and give a ton of money to Darkside, Phil, like Derich did.
You should be 18 years of age to be able to send someone a super chat or a membership, okay? You shouldn't be an underage kid doing it. So if I'm swearing on my stream, saying that my stream is for adults, why are you demonetizing my stream so no one can send me a super chat?
Simply put, they just don't want that kind of behavior on the platform. Because you see what Locale Live is doing, it's pretty stupid stuff nowadays. With the profanity, they don't want to go to their advertisers and say, "Here are our most popular live streamers," and then it's just a bunch of profanity-laden nonsense here and there. But the thing is, the smaller you are, the more you have to abide by the rules. Like Phil, you could just go on Kick and swear without problem. And you know, Phil has a real potty mouth, so he can't deal with this. He refuses to be squeaky clean, even though he composes himself where all that humor he has doesn't leak out. So he plays by some rules, but some things he doesn't like either. Like, honestly, I feel like YouTube should allow for a setting where you set it to adults only, where they're the only ones that see that, and then you can still monetize it. But YouTube doesn't do that, because if it doesn't fit their criteria of "we want to have ads on this," they don't want it on the platform. It's as simple as that. And you know, the odd thing is, he does go on profanity-laden tirades all the time, but he never complains about YouTube demonetizing those, so it may not be happening. For some strange reason, it may be the music, or it's probably trolls are reporting him to YouTube.
I get it. What they're saying is, well, maybe advertisements shouldn't run on your stream if you're saying the F word every 10 seconds. Okay, fair enough. Don't run ads. What about, why are you disabling the super chats?
Because it's based off of what they want to promote and what they don't want to promote, Phil. Yeah, do I think profanity is something where they should turn super chats off? Not necessarily. I mean, if somebody's swearing every second word, okay. But it depends on who the target demographic is. But YouTube just doesn't have these tier things worked out yet because they really don't care about it because it's such a minor portion of their business model. They don't have any competition. That's the thing. If they had competition, they would look into these things and adapt. But they're basically at the point where they're like, we can do whatever we want as long as their advertisers agree with it. So they're probably getting told by the advertisers, then they're implementing these policies that we don't like.
There's no logic there. But again, there's no logic to 90% of the things that Google and or YouTube does.
That's not true. Not all the time. Sometimes there is meaning behind it, sometimes there isn't. It just seems always arbitrary because it's constantly changing. Part of it is, do people have to justify their jobs, so they're always looking to innovate. That's why the site changes constantly, because things are always innovating. We may not like it with stuff like internet web pages, but that's just how it is. Every year there's a new car model. And most of the stuff that is unpopular, there gets pushback, and sometimes they change things because they realize, oh, this is a bad idea.
I've already explained to you guys over the years how they operate. They're a bunch of Ivy League, born with the silver spoon in their mouth people. They actually think they're smarter than us.
Well, of course they would think they're smarter than you, Phil. That's a very low bar to clear. Do you know everybody is from RV League, or is that just your assumption because you want to post them as elitist? Like, he has this idea where he's like, oh, I'm the working man, blue-collar job, but he really works a cushy white-collar situation that is going on right here. Like, Phil is extremely privileged to be doing what he's doing, but he is not grateful for it. He's entitled, because he's probably been like that his whole life.
Even though they don't use the site. They don't daily actively sit here and upload and stream. They have no clue what it's like to be a streamer, so they don't understand that the demonetization actually makes it so that you can't get super chats. They don't understand that. They're actually that ignorant.
No, they completely understand that, Phil. They just want to curb what you say on stream. Because advertisers do not like profuse profanity. Unless it's something where it's like a network where it's monitored and there's a lot of people working on it, like it's a project. Stuff that's meant for adults. Random Phil over here making his live streams, yeah, they won't care. With 200 people watching you, yeah, no, you gotta buckle up, Phil.
That's really the best way to describe it. It's ignorance, but they're protected from any repercussions of their ignorance simply because they work for Google, they work for YouTube. Mightier than thou attitude.
Says the guy who has one of the most mightier than thou attitudes on the internet. Now, do we really know the inner workings of YouTube? No. Who's to say? We really don't know. While we may complain that a lot of the changes are not good for the site, maybe they keep the site running. We really don't know. We're honestly lucky that the site hasn't crashed. But yes, I would agree it would probably be a good thing if YouTube had a lot of competitors. Because right now they don't in terms of video uploading.
They'll add in these weird changes like, oh, let's make it stricter so that you get flagged for adult content more often and not test it.
Phil, they don't really care. You are a small fry. I know with some of the things they implement, they do betas where they give it out to certain creators first. I don't know, they may have tested it with other creators, but I think it's mostly AI tracks what you're saying because they do have that when you upload a video.
Why test it? Testing, you're the test dummy. You the viewer, me the streamer, we're the test subjects. They don't have to test nothing. They just launch it.
Phil, it's called a policy change. They let you know in advance what they were looking for. If you had something they didn't like that you had on your stream, that's on you. You were warned in advance. Alright, so I looked at my live stream on the other channel, which did have profanity in it, and it's still fully monetized, Phil. Sucks to be you.
And then see how it goes. And if there's a big public outcry backwards from the change they made, then maybe they'll roll it back. But for the most part, they just launch it and say, F it. Let's see how it goes. So, sadly, it's pretty frustrating. And I've had a few streams that appear to have been demonetized for the language of the music. How ridiculous is that?
Phil, you were the one who put that up there. It's on you. You were told what the policy is. You either abide by the policy to get full monetization or don't and not get monetization. It's as simple as that. And honestly, most of those ineligibility things probably happen because of trolls figuring out, hey, we can exploit this. And Phil is here suffering because what he has to do is stop the stream and start it again. Tell me how many streamers have had to do that. He's like, guys, my business is gonna shut down. I'm gonna lose my house all because YouTube said 4 streams that I did weren't able to get super chats, so I had to close that stream and start a new one.
Again, this is music I have been running on YouTube for 7 years, and now in 2025, it's not acceptable.
Phil, any corporation, any business, any club will change its rules over time. Any religion will change its rules over time. These things happen. Not everything is set in stone. I know you want it to be, but that's just not life.
It was acceptable for 7 years, and now all of a sudden, because some idiot in a boardroom had a change of opinion on, oh, well, we should monetize it now everyone has to change their business model, right?
Yeah, apparently getting rid of music that is stale and redundant and nobody likes and doesn't even impact your stream because people aren't even there at that point because they know you don't start the stream until later is entirely somehow changing your business model where you won't be able to make any money anymore. Even though we've seen this week you got a ton of money. You didn't change your business model at all. What happened?
So here's the truth. You can still go watch the old content. It still exists. The classic stuff's on the original Dark Side Phil channel. All my old gameplay can be found right here on DSPgaming starting in 2010. It's all still there. I haven't erased it.
But he does erase the midstream begging segments between his gameplay where he demands his audience gives him money or he'll throw a fit.
It still exists, but it's just making it harder and harder to go down memory lane and or even have an attachment to the past when YouTube seems like all they want to do is erase it or ignore it or demonetize it or just make it not viable for a modern audience.
Hey Phil, how many people you know less than your age, younger than you, are big fans of Shirley Temple? Things change, tastes change, people change. We don't care about your stupid nostalgia for your glory days where you uploaded garbage and everybody watched it because it was either you or paint dry. Those days are long past. What matters is what you're doing right now. You just want the nostalgia because you think your fans are a bunch of diehards that have been with you forever and really clamor, yes, Phil is such an awesome gamer. I need to give him all my money because he gives us this song stuff that we love hearing for the 10,000th time and these gameplay highlight clips that we think are so hilarious for the 60,000th time. No, Phil. People want to see something new. They want to see something exciting because the same old gets boring. And you didn't figure it out. That's why you refused to change because you thought if it was golden back then, it should be golden right now. And that was your mentality every single year as you slowly lost viewership all the way now where you were hanging on a thread where the only people left are people giving you a ton of money. If they dip, Phil, game over.
And it's funny to me because people say every day, you were funnier back then, you were better back then. Yeah, and if I tried to do that today, I'd be broke because I couldn't make any money on any of it.
Yeah, well, Phil, you got canceled by Blip TV back 15 years ago, where it was nearly impossible to get canceled because of your rant with that game that was completely ridiculous and absurd that you would joke about that stuff because you don't have a filter and you don't know what's okay and what's not. That's your problem. And you really can't do much of those things anymore, not because you can't, but because of trolls, because they'd mass report you.
You know, it's just weird how stuff changes. So anyway, that's a change that I've instituted this morning. For the most part, no one was upset. It just seemed like people were confused. They're like, why is it silent? Is Phil having technical issues? Is he aware the music's not playing? Yes. And I'm going to run these streams without the music moving forward and see what happens. See if this is a positive change. If maybe people will actually come to watch and not be like, oh, the music. So a lot of people have admitted outright in the chat, when they come to my stream, they mute it. They mute it until they see me on screen, then they unmute it and they rewind and start watching. They don't want to hear the music. So now you don't have to do that anymore. Now you can just actively listen. And remember, when I'm going to start the stream, you'll hear this. Robust urban garlic flavor. That's my build up so you know that the stream's going to start. For the podcast, that is at least. Okay? Or else you'll just hear me talking. Okay?
And you know why this happens? Because he's had a bad habit. It hasn't really happened as much recently where he's been running these pre-rolls for 30 to almost an hour. Like seriously, just start streaming and have like 5 minutes. 10 in some rare circumstances where you have to run and get things. Don't waste your audience's time.
Now, by the way, this doesn't necessarily mean this is 100% the end of the music. Maybe one day we could listen back to it. That'd be cool, like doing a retro event where maybe we listen back to the songs together because you've heard the songs a million times, but I've never reacted to them.
Oh my 220, it's just like DSP throwback. He thinks people really care about the stuff he does 17 years ago. Phil, if creators have been around that long, most of their content, past like 3 years, nobody watches. That's just how it is. There are some rare exceptions, but it's really, what have you done for me lately? That's how YouTube operates. And the funny thing about Phil, there's like 100,000 videos that he's uploaded onto YouTube, where 99.999% of them are absolute garbage. But he thinks it's awesome because, oh, I'm playing this game and I gotta catalog everything. Phil, you're like baseball, where the next day, the past game is less important, and then 10 games back, unless something really exceptional happens, nobody remembers. That's how it works, Phil. If you want to change that, you gotta upload less frequently. You gotta stream less frequently. But that dips into your monetization plan because you want to constantly be there because that's the audience you cultivate. You cultivate people that sit there and watch you 12 times a week that have nothing else better going on.
Not once. I've been using these songs for what, 7 to 10 years? I've never reacted to a single song. That's true.
Okay, tell me you're a narcissist without telling me you're a narcissist.
So maybe we could do that. We could do a special stream where I react to the old music and stuff like that. Maybe we can actually do a planned retrospective event where we do something like that. Okay?
Hey guys, let's do a marathon where I reminisce about my glory days and you give me a ton of money. It sounds like a regular stream with extra steps. Alright everybody, thank you for watching this rant on YouTube from Phil. Some of the stuff I actually agree with him on that, but besides the point, I think he's just whiny and not willing to adapt. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and let me know what you thought in the comments. This is Robust turning off the station.